and welcome to YarnGasm. I'm KRISTIN and this is episode 186. If you are a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back, and if you are a new viewer, thank you so much for checking out my podcast. This is a podcast about knitting, spinning, and hand-dyeing yarn in Brooklyn, New York, where I live and I'm from, and I, as always, am super excited that you are taking a little bit out of your day to chat about all the crafty things with me. And yeah, it is finally spring, I think. The weather, it must be about, I don't want to say 80, it's definitely not 80, but in the mid to upper 70s, it feels like. I haven't checked the weather today, but I did not need a coat out when I went out earlier today. So yes, spring is finally here. And I mean, if it snows again, I'm really going to cry because I'm just so ready for warmer weather, and I'm sure many of you are, even though it may mean putting a lot of our woolies away. But anyway, not to talk about the weather, this is a knitting podcast. Okay, before I get into what I have been knitting, spinning, sewing, making in general, I just want to give make a couple of announcements. I will be having a trunk show. Voolenvine Yarns will be having a trunk show at Do You Knit in Westfield, New Jersey on Saturday, March 19th. So I hope you can make it. I'm excited to hang out with Karen and you guys, whoever can make it. I really look forward to meeting you and just hanging out and knitting and just having a great time. So with that in mind, and I know I usually leave shop update stuff for the end of the episode, but just to give you a heads up, I will unfortunately not be having a regular shop update this tomorrow and the following week, only because I'm trying to stock inventory for the trunk show. I hope you can understand, and I really want to have something for the shop tomorrow, which I will talk about at the end of the episode, because I will have something, but not my normal shop update stuff. So stay tuned for that, but just to give you a little heads up. So there's that, the trunk show. Hope you can make it. Yay. And I think that is it for announcements. Yeah, so, okay, I just wanted to put that out there. Knit-alongs, I feel like I should mention this before I get into things, but yes, I am hosting 2 knit-alongs at the moment. So the first knit-along that I am hosting is the WILDESMEERKAL shawl pattern, which is a pattern that I designed, and it's going to be a month-long knit-along from March. It started March 1st, and it's going all the way until April 1st. And I just want to say again, thank you to everybody who has purchased the pattern. It means so much to me that you are excited to knit the pattern, and already I'm blown away by all the many different versions that are being knit up right now. So it's going to be really fun to see all your progress, and I'm excited. I'm really, really excited, everyone. So yeah, check it out if you are looking for it. It's a really quick pattern, I will say that. It looks a little complicated, but I personally, in my experience while I was knitting it up, it was a fairly quick knit, and everybody else, or most of the feedback that I've been receiving was very similar, that it's a quick knit. So, check it out. See if, give it a try, and let me know what you think. But yes, knit along. There will be lots of giveaways, which I will discuss, I guess, during the episode, because I have received some more giveaway prizes. And then the other knit along that I am hosting is the Waiting for Rain Cal, which is a pattern, another lovely, lovely shawl pattern by Sylvia Bobilvia, and it's just a crescent shaped garter shawl. It's big. It's meant to be kind of like a stole or wrap, but in crescent shape form, and it's all garter stitch. But I feel like in certain places there are like these inserts of lace, which are just absolutely like a really stunning detail. And I'm excited to cast on. It already, the knit along started March 1st, the same date as the WILDESMEERKAL shawl pattern, and however, I am still waiting for my yarn. So yeah, not only am I waiting for rain, I'm waiting for yarn. I had ordered yarn from the Woolen Rabbit, which I had just received a notification today that it has shipped, but I had also purchased backup yarn from Jimmy Bean's Wool, and that is supposed to get here, I think, today. But I have, not just because my yarn has been delayed, but I have been thinking about it, and I'm thinking of extending the deadline, only because it is a very large shawl pattern, and a lot of people do have a lot of whips on the go, and I'm thinking of just extending it another month. yeah, so freebie month. It's gonna be a 2 month long knit along. So from March through until May 1st. Yes, that is correct. March, April. Yeah, from March 1st up until May 1st. That's how long the knit along will be going on for. Yeah, so I'm looking at all the. If you have not checked out the thread yet, take a look in the YarnGasm Revelry group. There's a thread for the Waiting for Raincal, and your yarn choices, everybody, stunning, absolutely stunning. So it's been really fun, to keep up with everybody who has cast on already. Me, I'm still waiting. So waiting for yarn, waiting. That'll be the name of the episode. Waiting for yarn and waiting for rain. I don't know. I'll think of something clever. But anyway, I'm a little scatterbrained today. But anyway, as usual. But yeah, so those are 2 knit-alongs that I'm hosting. And the other knit-along that I'm partaking in is the Harry Potter knit-along hosted by KT of Inside Number 23 podcast. So I am still waiting to cast that on as well. I'm still on the fence about what I exactly want to knit. I have 3 patterns now that I'm kind of tossing around as far as like what I want to knit for that. One is the Hogwarts Express, which is another crescent-shaped shawl, but it has like a string of little owlets going along the border, which I think is adorable. And then there's Hermione's Everyday Socks, which is a very popular choice among Harry Potter fans. But then there's something that I'm going to talk about in spinning, so I'll wait to hold off on that. But yes, she's hosting a Harry Potter knit-along, so hop on over to the Inside Number 23 Ravelry thread to find out more about that. And if you have not checked out Inside Number 23, where have you been? Go check out her podcast, KT, I'm gonna have to practice that, yeah. But KT is absolutely lovely and hilarious and funny, and I love her podcast and I love her as a person, so check her out. Yeah, so, okay, knitting podcast. First, what am I wearing? I am actually wearing my WATERLILY top, which is a pattern by MEGHAN, I think it's MEGHAN C. Fernandez, and this was a pattern featured in Pom Pom Quarterly. I believe it was spring 2014 or 15. But this was a very popular pattern. A lot of people were knitting it up. I know Danny from Little Bobbins was knitting it up. I know Melody from the Mandarins podcast had made one, and Maria from Stitched in Sweden had made some version of it. And I wanted it on the fun, so I cast on one myself, and this is in my hand-dyed yarn, which is the colorway's Beach House, which is more of like a summery colorway that I dye up. And it's on my Volca base, which is a merino nylon cashmere blend, and so soft, love it. I've actually been using it as a sample for my trunk shows because while I love the look of it, it doesn't fit me quite as well as I would like it to. I think I'm going to have to revisit the pattern and do some alterations because it's a little big. And the neckline is a little loose in the back. I had to do some crochet reinforcement on it, but yeah, for the most part it's been hanging up on the back of my, I'm trying a new angle, so that's why you don't see the door as you normally do if you've watched the podcast before, but it's been hanging up on the back of my door, and I've been getting a lot of questions about it, like what pattern is that, etc. So I figured it's time for me to give this a little time in the sun and wear it on the podcast, I guess. And yeah, so that's what's been hanging up on the back of my door. I've been using it as a sample, and I don't know, it's a lovely pattern. I learned some new techniques, especially the, oh goodness, what was this called? Latvian braid, which is a really super nice detail. But yeah, it's actually a little too warm out to be wearing this. I'm kind of getting hot. But anyway, I thought I would wear it for this episode. But yes, what am I working on? On my needles is I do have something off my needles. I have a hoe. I have a hoe, which is my Knit Picks, what is this? Tea Party. This is Knit Picks Felici, the self-striping yarn, and it's in the Tea Party colorway, and it has a contrasting heel, cuff, heel, and toe, fish lips, kiss, heel, and yeah, one sock is done. So I will say I've lost. It's a vanilla sock, you guys. There's nothing much to it, but I don't know what it is. I'm not excited about working on it. Call me crazy. I had to force myself to finish one sock, only because I'm thinking about casting on other things, other socks, and yeah, I don't know what it is about this sock in particular that has not been driving me to want to finish its mate, if you will. I don't know. I've kind of lost steam, but I am pushing myself to finish the second sock. So there will be no second sock syndrome, which is why I did cast on Living in My Mina Makes project bag. And yeah, it has like all the little kitties on it. But yeah, it's been living in, the second sock has been living in there. And again, this is Knit Felici in the Tea Party colorway. And I have the cuff done, and I have part of one stripe done. So I'm making progress on it. So slowly but surely. I may cast on another sock to knit intermittently in between it. And yeah, so, oh, and the contrasting yarn is, again, Knit Picks Stroll in the plain white, nothing fancy. And yeah, so I'm making headway on this. But, you know, I'm sure you can relate. There have been socks that you sock knitters have knit that you're like, it's vanilla, but it doesn't bring joy to your heart as much as other yarn does. I don't know. It's weird. But anyway, it's been living in my Mina Makes project bag. And speaking of Mina Makes, Mina, of the host of the Knitting Expat podcast, has generously donated. And I've been meaning to show this off on the podcast for quite some time, but I keep forgetting because it's been in my little one of my prize bins. Yes, I have a bin dedicated to giveaway prizes, guys. And, but yeah, she has generously donated this gorgeous project bag with a cityscape. I believe it's a landscape of Manhattan. I'm trying to pronounce my T's. Can you hear? So, but yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, it's a cityscape of Manhattan, and you have the Chrysler building right there. Yes, that is the Chrysler building. And then, it's very bizarre. I'm looking at it, and I don't think it's very geographically accurate, because I think it's just a repeat of Manhattan Island going staggered. So, because yeah, you have, I believe this is the Manhattan Bridge right here, and then this is the Empire, obviously, the Empire State Building, and then you have more cityscape back here, but really this should be Brooklyn. If, you know, the Chrysler building is here and the Empire State Building is here, this should either be Brooklyn or... But anyway, I'm reading way too much into this. It's an adorable fabric and really well made project bag. Here's her logo if you missed out. And it's lined with just plain simple white. So for those of you who love monochromatic tones, this is awesome. So I'm really excited to be giving this away as part of the, I think it's going to be, yeah, the Waiting for Raincal. This will be one of the giveaways. So there's that. And then more whips. I have been making a lot of progress on my doodler shawl. Oh my gosh, you guys, I love, 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 love this pattern. Call me crazy, but I know a lot of people kind of gave up on it. Like they reached this part, the twisted cable bit, clue number 2. But I love it. I really love it. I just plowed through it, and now I am onto clue. I'm actually up to clue 4. I finished clue 3 yesterday. So yeah, I'm at the very end of it. But yeah, the yarn is my yarn again. Same yarn as this, Volca, which is a merino nylon cashmere blend. And this is the Venus Flytrap colorway, which is, I believe, colorway number B, or color number B. And then the main color is Enjoy the Silence, which is this speckled purpley teal colorway. And then colorway number B is Succulence. So here we go. And it's quite heavy. It's a heavy shawl, you guys. There's a lot of body to this, but I can't help thinking that, like, as I'm knitting it. And yeah, it's just such a fun pattern. I could totally see myself knitting another one. Not immediately, but I could definitely see myself, you know, coming across 3 skeins that I am in love with and being like, that would make an awesome doodler shawl. So lots of fun with this. I'm probably gonna finish it either today or tomorrow and block it and have it ready to show you for next week. But yeah, excellent pattern. Love it. So much fun. Yeah, so there's that. And I think that is it for, yeah, I've been very monogamous with my, there goes a ball. I've been incredibly monogamous with my knitting these days. I don't know what's in the water, but I've just been, it's either a sock or a main project. So this has been my main project for the past couple of weeks. So very pleased about that. It means I'm getting a lot of knitting done and not just kind of skipping around, and then in maybe like 3 months I'll have something done, which has been the case in the past couple of years, I feel like. So it's nice to just be focused on one project for once. And yeah, so I'm kind of glad that I'm still waiting for yarn for my Waiting for Rain shawl, so I can actually focus and finish on this. So it's kind of a good thing, I think. But yeah, there's that. And I'm just going to put this over here because I don't want my yarn to tangle and dip out of frame. Okay, so spinning. Am I on to spinning? All right, I'll talk about spinning in a minute, but I do want to talk about mail that I have received this past week. I received a really lovely email from Jody of Mrs. Brown's Bags. I'm sure you've heard about her Etsy shop already many times. She's been making the rounds on many podcasts, and I've obviously heard of her before. But she's also the co-host of the Grocery Girls podcast, which is, oh my gosh, you guys, if you have not checked out the Grocery Girls podcast, get thee over to YouTube and check them out. They are just lovely. It's hosted by Jody and Stacy, and they're both from Canada. And they're like hanging out with just a bunch of good friends, just an hour and a half maybe of just chilling, hanging out, talking about socks and knitting and all the fun stuff. And they're a hoot. So I really enjoy catching up with them every week. And I've heard of them before, but I only just got around to watching their podcast, and I'm hooked. So yeah, definitely check out Stacy and Jody. They're two fun, lovely ladies that you will definitely enjoy hanging out with for about an hour or so, talking about knitting and crafting and spinning. But yes, Jody has graciously sent me, she sent me a project bag, one for me and one for you, but this is the one that she sent me. And I think this is so awesome. She actually knit up a swatch, like a giant swatch, photographed it, and I think she went on to spoonflower.com, where you can take photographs or your own design and have fabric made out of it. And she made this really awesome fabric. I think it's really lovely. And Mauve, hello. Jody has my number. And yeah, she said, this one's for me, and she gave me some stitch markers, which I believe I put some up there somewhere else, but lovely stitch markers. And yeah, here's her logo. Let's see, this is her whimsical yarn totes. And yeah, sorry, I'm holding it up the wrong way, but Mrs. Brown's Bags. And again, it's just lined with a simple white interior. And yeah, Jody, thank you so much. And she also sent me, why, I don't know, she does too much, but she sent me a bonus skein of Vivid Yarn Studio in their Retro Daisy colorway, which, you guys, incredible. I love this colorway. I opened this and I gasped, but I'm like, Jody, thank you, you really do too much. So, and it's, I don't know if you can see it, but there's like so much glitter in there. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's 75% superwash merino, 20% nylon, and 5% stellina. So really beautiful. And the prize that she gave to me to give away to you, one of you lucky viewers, is same fabric, really beautiful, and has a contrasting purple fabric at the bottom. And there's a mini skein to boot. So yay! Thank you so much, Jody. Oh, and look at that. Little kitty projects. Blah, blah, I cannot talk today. Little kitty progress keeper. So yeah, thank you so much again, and very excited to give this away. I think I'm gonna give this away for the WILDESMEER knit along. I will actually, if you go into the YarnGasm Revelry group and you go into the respective knit along threads, I will list what prizes will be given away for that. So yes, but awesome! I love it. Okay, so that is it for mail. And then I'm gonna move on to spinning. I'm looking at my show notes over there. And you guys, my Bosworth came in the mail last week, and I did the biggest, happiest dance you will never get to see. But I was so happy to receive it in the mail, and how beautiful is this? It is so incredibly well balanced. It spins and spins and spins, and just so well made. It's about like an ounce and just very like over an ounce in weight. And this is Helen's Hollywood, hand carved, and it's actually, I don't know if you can see that, but it's engraved by J. Bosworth. Can you see that? I'm not sure, but anyway, it's, you know, his name's in there. And then it also has, they do this thing where they, to weight it properly, they add like a little metal piece right there. So incredibly well made. Loved spinning on it. And to christen it, as one does when they get a spindle or what have you, a new gadget in the mail, or new purchase. I had spun up this two fibery tribbles by Gourmet Stash that I had in my stash. And this is her Hedwig colorway. She doesn't, I think she's taking a hiatus right now. She's not, her shop's closed at the moment, but a couple of years ago, I think like 2 years ago, I had purchased a couple of fibery tribbles from Gourmet Stash in her Hedwig colorway, which is Harry Potter inspired. And I thought, I'm doing a KT from Inside 23 knit along for Harry Potter. So, you know, and this immediately came to mind when this came in the mail, and I was like, you know what, maybe I'll spin up something and incorporate this into another pattern, so, you know, it can qualify or something, because I still haven't decided on what pattern I wanted to knit. But it spins so beautifully, and I two-plied it. So I spun up one fibery tribble and wound up the singles, and then spun another, and then once that was done, I just two-plied them together. And I still have to soak it. I don't know if you can see that, but there is yak, there's silk, and stellina in there as well, and I think some merino. I lost the tag, but yeah, and so soft, so incredibly soft. Hey kitty, do you want to say hello? We have a kitty. I think she wants to say hi. Come here. Come here, Goose. I call her Goose nowadays because I just call her a silly goose, so now her nickname's Goose. But come here, say hello. Alley-oop. Come, say hello. She's gonna come. She needs time. Come. There we go. Bella has come to say hello to you guys. So say hi, Bella. Are you having fun hanging out by the window? Did I open it for you because it's so nice out? What are those naughty birdies doing? Are they teasing you? Clearly, she's just having a blast. So anyway, yeah, so I've just been having a blast spinning on my new Bosworth. If I can find the tag, I will put it in the show notes. But yeah, there's that. And then I have not been spinning on my Lendrum. I had meant to spin on my Lendrum, but I realized that my drive band needed to be replaced because since I've had it, it's stretched out. And yeah, so since I've had my Lendrum, the drive band has since stretched out, and when I went to use my lace flyer, which is currently on my my Lendrum at the moment, but I had ordered the full kit and caboodle when I ordered my Lendrum. So I got the basic flyer, I got the jumbo flyer, and then I also got the lace flyer, which has smaller ratios on it. And when I went to swap out my lace flyer, the drive band would not wrap around it. So ideally, when you purchase a Lendrum, you are not supposed to leave the drive band on the flyer. You're supposed to take it off because it is made of a material that's very, it's like clear plastic, but it's elastic, if that makes any sense. But yeah, generally you are supposed to take it off the flyer and let it re-stretch, if that makes any sense. And I had not been doing that. So yeah, consequently my drive band has stretched out, but it just came. It came in the mail a couple days ago, and I tried setting it up last night, but I believe the wheel actually requires some disassembling to replace the drive band, which is going to be really annoying. But I have to find a tutorial on that, or I found one and I just have to sit down and read through it. But anyway, yeah, so that's going to be an interesting process. It's probably a no-brainer, but yeah. But yeah, once that is all set up, I am going to spin up finally, and this, I already took it out of the braid, but I'm going to spin up my Narwhal Needleworks fiber that I purchased at Vogue Knitting Live. And guys, this is so incredibly lofty and soft. My cat is looking at me like I'm crazy. She's sitting on my lap right here. But here is the tag, Narwhal Needleworks. And yeah, it's in the Glacier colorway, and it's 100% Polworth wool. So I am loving this to bits. But how I'm going to spin it is I'm just going to split the braid in half and spin, you know, one half of the braid as singles and then 2-ply it together to create hopefully like a fingering weight yarn. So yeah, I have no idea what it's going to be. I just want to have fun spinning it. And yeah, just have fun. So yay, cannot wait for that. So that's spinning. And sewing, I have not been doing any sewing this week. It's just been crazy between like trunk show prep and all that fun stuff. So, but I am hoping to I am hoping to sew my Anna dress with the lining on the inside at some point, maybe this weekend. I don't think anything is going on. So I did purchase, I caught a Craftsy sale this past weekend. They're having 50% off on, I think, all their sewing classes, and I purchased a tutorial on how to install linings and interfacings. Some areas where I have some, you know, trouble with to begin with. But yeah, so I've just been having fun watching that while knitting, and just kind of, you know, I'm obviously going to have to revisit it to be more, you know, to grasp it completely. But yeah, so my intention is to use some Liberty fabric to sew myself a new Anna dress and include some lining in it. And I feel so scatterbrained today, guys. I don't know it's the weather. Just blame it on the weather. But anyway, so yeah, that's no real sewing to speak of this week. But otherwise, I'm looking at my show notes. So I am going to move along to stash enhancements because I have some yarn acquisitions that I would like to share with you. And who does not love to be enabled by yarn acquisitions? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Am I right? Wow, it's a tongue twister. Am I right? But yeah, so this past weekend, the New York Knit Nerds had our first meetup, and the New York Knit Nerds is a knitting group that me, along with a couple of other New York-based podcasters, have created. So you know, anybody can join in New York who's looking for a knitting group. The plan is to just, you know, meet up about maybe once a month or so, just to, you know, chill, hang out, knit, chat, what have you. And yeah, so we had our first meetup on Sunday, and it went really well. We had a really great time. We met at this bookstore in Greenpoint, Brooklyn called Word. They have generously loaned us their event space downstairs. You know, just hang out. They have a lot of chairs. We just kind of gathered around, had some snacks. And yeah, we just hung out and knit for about 2 hours. We actually only had the place for 2 hours because they were having an event there that day. But it was a perfect location because Gauge and Tension was right down the block. So we just made a day of it. And especially because Michelle, as I mentioned last week, Michelle, who owns Gauge and Tension, has sadly announced that they're closing. You know, just they had a long run, and yeah, it was just time. And so, but yeah, she was having a sale, 20% off on all of her inventory. We could not resist. So it just made sense for us to go and say hello to Michelle and treat ourselves to some yarn, because why not, right? Anyway, so we moseyed on over to Gauge and Tension afterwards, and I treated myself to some lovely yarn. But this is in 2 parts, because not only did I buy yarn there the first time around, afterwards we had all migrated to get some food, because, you know, I think by then it was about maybe 2 or 3 o'clock and we're all hungry. So we went to this diner very close by, ate, and then Carlene from the Knitting with Carlenergy podcast had mentioned, she goes, I can't stop thinking about this one yarn, you know, let's all go back, you know. So whoever wanted to come back with us, we all, you know, of course I had to go back with her because why not? So we went back, and I did some more retail therapy, or I did some more yarn shopping as well. So, but yeah, let me show you the yarn. So the first time that I visited Gauge Intention that day, I had treated myself to some, what is it? Brooklyn Tweed Quarry, which is their new bulky weight yarn in the slate colorway. And it is 100% American wool, and it's a single ply. And then I also, because I could not resist, purchased 2 skeins of Brooklyn Tweed Loft in Postcard, which is the same yarn that my lattice shawl is knit out of. And I know what you're going to say, because I have complained about knitting with Brooklyn Tweed Loft in the past, and so much so that I was not willing to finish my lattice shawl designed by the wonderful Maria Monska and finished by the lovely Maria Monska of the Stitched in Sweden podcast, which I showed off last week. And I posted this on Instagram, and she's like, really? Why, you know, or that's the vibe that I got from that message that she left me. Like, why did you buy Brooklyn Tweed Lofts exactly again? I just love the colorway. I am obsessed with the colorway. I cannot get over these red flecks that are in there. I don't know if you can see them, but it just makes me so happy. I just want them in my stash, if that makes any sense. Just to live in my stash and look pretty. And if the day comes where I find a pattern that I'm just like, you know what, that'd be so perfect for this. Yeah, so this was more of, I don't know what kind of purchase you want to call this, but maybe just stash decoration, if you will. So I have no immediate plans for this at all. So it will be living in my stash perpetually, as stash decor, I guess. So yeah, that was my first purchase the first time around. And then after brunch, I was also thinking about yarn that I had seen there, and I was contemplating buying. But I went back with Carlene and who else showed up? Gabigail's from, her name's Gabby, not Gabigail's, but that's her Ravelry name, from the Once Upon a Corgi podcast, and Adrian from the Freakers Lemon, and oh goodness, I'm blanking. I'm so blanking. Who else came with us? Oh goodness, there are so many people that showed up. I'm terrible with names. But anyway, we went back, and I had purchased these 2 skeins of Skinny Dipping. I don't know if you can see it. Skinny Dipping, which is on their Journey Worsted. It's 100% superwash merino. And yeah, this is the Tea Leaves colorway. And this is the brown butter colorway. And it wanted to come home with me. So yeah, I did a little bit of gluttonous yarn shopping that day, but yeah, it's so worth it. I really think so. And 20% off, I just could not resist. So yay! But yeah, I'm hoping to get back to Gauge Intention at least one more time before it shuts down. But I don't know what my schedule is going to be like in the coming weeks. But their last weekend, if you want to go there, it's going to be March 26th and 27th. So if you have not checked out Gauge Intention, now is the time. Now is the time, my friends. So yeah, there's that. And then, as I mentioned, I have some yarn coming still from the Woolen Rabbit and Jimmy Bean's Wool, which hopefully I will have to show you next week. But yeah, birthday month. I'm keeping it going. It's going. I really need to put a cap on it, you guys. It's getting a little out of control. But anyway, no pressure on myself. But anyway, whatever. Okay, so I have one ask away question that I want to answer on the podcast. And if you are not familiar, I do have a thread in the YarnGasm Revelry group called Ask Away. So if there's anything at all that you would like me to answer on the podcast or, you know, in the thread, just ask me in that thread and I will be happy to answer when I get around to it. So, but this week, and I want to, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, Egarnier on, that's Egarnier on Ravelry. She asks, I'm wondering how taut your socks are on your metal sock blockers. I borrowed a set from a friend and mine seem to be able to sag just a bit in the middle open part if I hold them horizontal in the air. I hope that makes sense. They are they kind of sink into the open part. I'm wondering if they should be taut so they don't sag, which would mean they'd have to be more negative ease. Just wondering. Okay, and if you are totally confused, she is talking about These are my Bryson sock blockers. They're metal and has an open area, just an open middle part, which is supposed to help socks dry quicker. You know, so there's enough air to travel through, etc. You get the idea. But she's talking about when she puts her socks on the sock blockers, when they're wet, in the middle, you can imagine when yarn is wet, it can sag, you know, if it's not flat. You can imagine that the yarn would kind of sag down in here, and it is a little wobbly, and I find that happens a lot when I use these, or it happens every time when I use these. And I would not worry about it. I would definitely not worry about it, and please do not change your gauge at all if you are knitting socks. If you've knit socks the same way for years and years, or for a while, for however long you've been knitting socks, and your socks fit fine after you're done knitting them, do not change your ease at all. I would not recommend that at all. Just, you know, simply, they are going to be a little floppy on here, but just hang them. I would just hang them vertically, let them do what they're going to do, and they should dry as they would normally dry. Don't stretch them, just let them casually hang on there. But for that reason, is kind of, I feel the same way. It's kind of, you know, it may warp the shape of your sock a little bit, but if you don't do too much to it, if you just kind of slide it on and let it hang vertically, it should be fine. But yeah, do not change your tension or your ease or anything just so it can fit perfectly on the sock blocker, because at the end of the day it's going to go on your foot and you're going to have to wear it. So that would be my advice to you. Don't block it aggressively on the Bryson sock blockers. I would just loosely place the sock on, even let it dry horizontally, so it doesn't, maybe block it horizontally or let it dry flat on a surface, so you know you don't have that the sagging happening, or just hang it up. I think that's how it's meant to be. You know, just hang it up vertically, let it dry as is, and don't stretch it out or anything. And certainly don't adjust your ease if for your sock if you've been knitting socks and they fit just fine. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. And I would love to hear if any of you have had problems with your Bryson sock blockers, if you've been having the same experience, and what you do, if you've been doing anything to remedy that issue. So yeah, thank you so much again for asking, and as always, yeah, please feel free to leave me a question in there, and I will see if I can get around to answering it. Okay, so shop update. As I mentioned, I will not be having a regular shop update this week or the following week, only because I've been prepping for the trunk show and trying to get out all of my Yarn Club orders, which, by the way, the first installment of the Gory Details Yarn Club have been shipped. They were shipped yesterday, so you should be getting those soon, and I'm so excited to hear what you think about them. I'm excited about the colorway. I saved myself the skein and cannot wait to cast on a pair of socks with them, so I didn't want to show you guys this week because, yeah, I just sent them out, but next week I might have a pair of socks cast on with that. But yes, so as I was saying, I am not having a regular shop update tomorrow, but I will have something in the shop because I did find time to sew up some project bags. And I will say there aren't going to be a lot of them, only because, yeah, not enough hours in the day, but I did have a little fun creating some enhancements. Okay, so I've had this fabric in my stash for quite some time, and I have been meaning to create project bags with them. And yeah, I was kind of itching to get a little sewing done, and I obviously wasn't going to get a dress done. So I'm like, you know what, let me whip up some project bags, see how many I can make. But yeah, here is one of those project bags. And this is really fun dress pattern making fabric. So I don't know if you can see, but it's so adorable. It has, like, you know, the schematics of a dress, and then these little fashion plates. And then it has like instructions, here's the back of it, you know, on how to assemble a sewing pattern. So yeah, and I got new labels, which I'm really excited about. They're actually woven, so they're kind of like that same material that you get in the back of, you know, a garment or an outfit or something, but they're very fancy. I love them. And the inside is lined with this really retro kind of Pusteblumen or dandelion fabric, and yeah, these make me so happy, and yeah, I hope you guys are excited about them too. And they're boxed at the bottom, so, and yeah, they come with a little progress keeper as well, and I have one with a green zipper. So I think these are adorable. I'm gonna see if I can whip up some more. I'm trying some new interfacing. So I think because the lining fabric is a little sturdier, and then the interfacing that I'm trying has a little bit, is softer, but still a little bit sturdier, these can definitely stand up on their own. And I didn't include a handle on them. These are kind of, I don't know, I would call them kind of like clutch bags, if you will, because yeah, you can either hold them under your arm like a clutch, or what I like to do with some project bags, sometimes I just like to have a separate soft bag that I can just throw a project in and then into a bigger bag that I can take with me. So that was kind of the idea behind these bags. And yeah, so these will be going in the shop. I'm going to try and whip up a couple more project bags for tomorrow, but they will be in the shop tomorrow, March, looking at my calendar, what's the date? March 11th at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So hope you can make it, and yeah, so those will be in the shop. And another thing that I wanted to talk about, and I was trying to debate how to talk about it on the podcast, because I have been getting some, emails and messages from customers, a little frustrated, and I totally don't blame you for being frustrated at all. I totally understand, but not being able to purchase anything when I do an update, because the stuff in my shop sells out quite quickly, which is kind of, I will say, an awesome problem to have, but at the same time, I really want everyone to be able to get something if you are interested, and I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm super grateful, and always grateful when people want to buy my yarn or my project bags. Yeah, it just means so much to me, and thank you for wanting to support my business. But yeah, I just want to say that, I am one person running a small business. So it's, I do dye as much yarn as I possibly can each week to update the shop. And, it's, for me to just mass produce is not in the cards right now. And I don't have any plans to expand or, that type of thing. But, I mean, I love the fact that I'm my own boss and I get to do this on my own time, and, be my own entity, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that definitely has a downfall where I can't produce enough to make everybody happy, But I want to apologize if you have been trying and you have not been able to catch anything. I would say don't give up. The only advice I can give you is create an account. Go to voolenvineyarns.com. Do create an account, which will, prompt you to enter your shipping and billing info, and then do log into your account a couple of minutes before an update goes live. This way you are already logged in, and then checkout will just be 1, 2, 3, because all your info will be in there. You can just check out, and that would be my main advice. But yeah, I just want to, put that out there to you guys and let you know how, thankful I am to have you as customers wanting to buy my yarn. And yeah, if that helps, I really hope that helps the process if you have been having trouble. So yeah, and as always, if you have any questions, comments, please feel free to email me at voolenvineyarns@gmail.com, and I will do my best to get back to you as soon as possible. So yeah, and that said, yeah, so shop update, a little tiny shop update tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll see if I can dye any yarn, but no promises. But yes, and the next time I will have a real shop update is the following Monday after the trunk show. So Monday, March 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be having whatever I didn't sell at the trunk show will be going into the shop then. And then the following Friday, I will have a shop update. So just to put that out there. Yeah, so that said, I think I am going to move along to Blather, where I talk about what's going on in my life. So, yeah, we had the New York Knit Nerds meetup on Sunday. Dennis had gone to Tahoe for a snowboarding trip, so I had the whole weekend to myself, which I shamelessly spent knitting, watching podcasts and movies, and the like. And yeah, it was just a nice, quiet, relaxing weekend. Definitely much needed. I did get some work done. I did dye up some yarn for the trunk show. The trunk show, and then I also got all my Yarn Club skeins dyed up. But yeah, so it was just a really nice, relaxing weekend. And yeah, so I mentioned that I had watched movies and everything. I totally treated myself to chick flick movies that Dennis would never want to watch with you know, like willingly watch, you know, on his own time. So yeah, one movie that I watched that was really good, and it's been done over and over again. Jane Eyre with Mia. Oh goodness, I can never remember her last name. It's very complicated, but she's been in Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland. She's been in a lot of stuff recently. I know she was in Crimson Peak with Tom Hiddleston recently. But yeah, she did this one rendition of Jane Eyre recently, which, you guys, it was amazing. The costumes, the storyline, it was just, the acting was amazing. So if you want something, a chick flick to watch, check out Jane Eyre. And yeah, otherwise, I did watch Harry Potter. I did try and sit down, and I'm trying really hard, you guys. I want in on the fun so much, you have no idea, but for some reason, the wizard thing isn't resonating with me, but I am making an effort. And I had watched several Harry Potter movies previously, you know, so I knew the gist of it. I think I watched like the first three movies a while ago, and I kind of wanted to skip ahead just to, you know, see if that, you know, if anything would kind of grab me at that point. So I did watch Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which was a great movie. I really enjoyed watching it, but at the same time, it's like, didn't really want to watch, you know, didn't really feel the urge to watch the second one immediately. I'm not like one of those movies like, oh my gosh, what happens next, you know? So yeah, I am making an effort. I think at some point I do want to watch the next one. But yeah, it's definitely not a genre that really grabs me, unfortunately. I'm more of the vampire ilk and the gothic romance type of genre fan, so if that makes any sense. So yeah, but anyway, just thought I'd mention that. But anyway, yeah. But otherwise, I think Dennis and I are going to spend some time together this weekend because I missed him. I really did. You know, it's nice to have the quiet downtime, but at the same time, it's like, you know, we want to spend some time together. And I think that's what we will do this weekend and get some stuff done around the house because, yeah, when, you know, I have some downtime to just knit and binge watch podcasts and stuff, I don't want to clean. No. So, but I think some of that stuff has to get done this week because, yeah, it's time. But anyway, I'm totally rambling right now. So that said, I hope everyone has a wonderful rest of your week. Happy knitting, and I will see you next time. Bye.